the revolving door of former regulators in Washington finding cushy jobs within the crypto industry. This is not unique to the crypto industry. This happens across a lot of industries where former regulators, lawmakers, prominent folks end up leaving the public sector and entering the private sector, often in sectors in which they were involved in a public capacity over in DC. So what we have here is Liz Warren and AOC saying, regulators, you guys better make some rules to make sure this revolving door doesn't revolve so much. So we've been seeing a lot of this back and forth between the CFTC and even the SEC, people jumping over from those regulatory bodies into fairly prominent venture capital firms and crypto projects themselves. This is something we note upon often, and I think this is a fun headline to discuss. We'll toss it straight to Wendy for her take.
Once the public servants can stop traditional financial insider trading by other public servants, they have no business speaking upon crypto. Make sure your backyard and your home is run properly before you come for other people.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that was a mic drop. I kind of want Wendy to say more.
It's the mic drop. She can't say more. Jen,
okay,
you have
fine,
to.
She dropped her mic.
I'll just take it from there. I think, okay, if we look at where Warren and AOC are coming from, okay, fine, it's a fair question to ask. But then if we really think about it, aren't they shining a light on government officials maybe not being able to avoid influence and not being ethical? Like, they're saying these people are leaving government, they're working in the industry, and now they have this immense power to influence officials to the point where we won't be able to regulate the industry efficiently. I just don't think that's the case. I feel like if you've worked for government and now you're working in an industry that is trying to work with government, you have an insight. You're able to help people work together on both sides of the coin. I think that, I mean, I'm not a regulator, but I think that this is better, and I think that this is a very one-sided way of looking at things, and a very, almost a way to kind of halt innovation, right? We can't innovate if we can't regulate quick enough, and if we can't have people who understand how the government works, we can't regulate quick enough. And so that's how I feel. Will?
That was some good points there. I think we need to back up the truck a little bit and realize where this headline comes from. And that's when that guy from Celsius joined JP Morgan the other week. That was huge news. That was a pretty big wake-up call, I think, for a lot of people in the industry, that there is a revolving door. I think anyone in the journalism beat of crypto, or anyone who's been paying attention to headlines over the last 3 years, notices that this revolving door does exist now. Previously did not exist. 5 years ago, no one really cared if you're a crypto firm or not. Now, they do. They want to have that experience in their books. Banks are bringing these people in. They're doing all that sort of stuff. It's not always great. Not always the great people are going into these banks. And I think a lot of times that leads to this wandering eye from DC. They're going to start checking in on these things a little bit more often. So I would point to Celsius and JP Morgan the other week for this coming from Washington, DC. Up to you, Zach.
It's not the same, Will.
I was
it's very similar.
Dude, bonus points for bringing up that super funny story about the Celsius JPM, but it's company to company, It's not like, public sector to private sector.
I think there's something there.
All right, well, you're entitled to that opinion, sir. Thank you for expressing your viewpoints.
Taco fight.
I think the one that comes to mind for me is like Brian Quintenz, right? Former CFTC commissioner who's now sort of helming regulatory efforts at A16Z, which has a huge stake in the advancement of this industry, right? So that one stands out to me. Chris Giancarlo, also former CFTC chair. I think he has a couple advisory roles, one with like CoinFund, a venture capital firm. So I think that is natural, right? This is what we see across industries, right? People think about what they did in their regulatory capacity. They think, hey, maybe I want to work on these issues in a different capacity and go join the private industry that I was previously working with to advance positive legislation. I don't think there's anything necessarily ethically dubious about that. It's just something that happens often with public servants who then segue into the private sector. So I guess my point to Warren and AOC would be, as long as this is being uniformly applied, like that's fine. But the idea that this can be sort of segmented to just this one aspect of private industry, that one seems a bit weird, but is in keeping, I think, with what's generally sort of the Democratic Party's I guess like they're more wary of crypto, I think, historically, even though there's been some progress on that side of the aisle in terms of the crypto embrace. But who knows? I think the revolving door will keep on spinning, but maybe this will be a bit more friction in the months ahead. Jen, last thoughts on this one?
I think that control should make us a revolving door graphic. I would love to see that with all of the government officials that have ventured into the private sector. I think it would be a great meme that we could use often on the show and off. And that's how I would like.
Where would you use it off the show?
On Twitter.
Okay.
That's just the answer, on Twitter. Wendy, I will relinquish my final thoughts to you. Maybe you have something smarter to say.
I would like to see if we can get some sort of licensing rights to play Warren G regulators anytime we say the term regulators, because it's just funny at this point. It's just a mess, and it's just bear market things. That's all. I'm done. I need to talk.
Wendy, if you do the Nate Dogg part, I will do the Warren G part, and we can just...
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Fair use, right?
If we just get that going right now.
If we just jam it, Anyway, next time.